Come one, come all. It's this week's Monkey Nut Punch podcast. As always on these podcasting journeys, my podcasting stall, Nigel. So hello, Nigel.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Just one note, and I hope Nigel's ready for this bit here, yeah? Keith can't be with us this podcast because Keith is having his annual bath. Nigel, would you like to display Exhibit A, please? Sorry for all the listeners on the podcast for a visual gag. You'll have to go to the YouTube channel just to watch the intro for this.
Just a visual gag. This is what Keith is up to. He's having his annual bath.
And as you can see, like with all dogs, he doesn't look very happy.
There is one plus side to that.
Yes.
He's covered up that god-awful beard thing he's got.
Yes. Unfortunately, I'm getting that kind of that silvery patch there by the chin.
Oh, and we've got to say one thing, and I'm very. Oh God, they've all moved around, but it's.
Hello, Dave.
Hello, Dave. How are we doing?
Keith's also joined us. It looks like he's messaging us in the chat. So if you guys want to join in, fair enough. Have a little chat, and we'll see if we pick up your comments as we go.
Please. Oh, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Do it now before you decide you don't like the podcast. That's going to be my new saying. Do it now before you decide you don't like it. So this week we'll be talking about the sad passing of David Prowse. Johnny Depp's replacement in Fantastic Beasts, the new Pirates film with Margot Robbie, Disney not paying people, because when you buy things, you buy the liabilities as well as their assets. Amazon's cancellation of The Expanse, Disney Plus moving to Disney Plus after dark, and then looks like we might a possible Stargate revival. Plus we've got some PS5 news. Some other gaming news, and we finish off with our what the fuck story. So buckle up, buckaroos. Our movie news. Unfortunately, this is we're starting off and we're quite jovial and whatnot, but unfortunately, this is a bit of a sad one here because David Prowse, the guy who was in the suit playing Darth Vader through the 3 Star Wars films, the proper Star Wars films, the original OG Star Wars films, has died. His agent confirms that it was a heart-wrenching sadness for him and millions of fans across the world to announce that David Prowse, MBE, passed away at the age of 85. Bloody good innings. Well done, sir. He was born July 1st, 1935. He stood at 6'6", Nigel. That's almost double your height.
It is.
It is double your height.
It is double my height. Jesus, and width, I suppose.
Well, you expect that. David Prowse was famous for being Darth Vader, but I actually met David Prowse in another role, which he played when I was a child. And now, hopefully, I should be able to bring this up. If he hasn't cocked it up, he presses the button.
Was he wearing a funny suit?
He was wearing a funny suit. Let's just see if this, because my
very, very true though. This he is alive.
Emergency! Calling Green Cross man. Crosses. Where do you think you're going, you dumbo?
Green Cross.
When you get to the curve, always stop.
That was David Prowse. Look at that. That's
Sorry, Green Cross.
right. Just like to point out something, yeah. That fucking hand is huge. I met him doing the Green Cross Code Man when I was in primary school, and he had a dusty, I would describe him more like Dusty Bin than R2D2 as companion. And they gave us lots of Green Cross Code things, and he came in and we did our assembly, and this little old me going, hello. And I saw him and I told my parents, because I'm at the Green Cross Code Man today. And my dad was like, it's not a Green Cross Code Man, Gareth. That's Darth bloody Vader. What do you mean? It doesn't sound anything. It didn't sound anything like Darth Vader. I went, no. That's the guy in the suit who plays Darth Vader. And I'm like, really? And he was like, yeah. He did the Green Cross Code Man as a public service announcement for public service announcements for us as kids to make sure that we followed the Green Cross Code. And the funny thing is, I can't remember what the Green Cross Code is.
Stop, look,
look, and listen. I think it's that, but I can't say with 100% certainty. But yeah, I met him in that capacity. I think we all got to just walk past him and say hello, and he told us to be good children and pay attention when crossing the road. So he was off doing all the school things. And it's not, I'll be honest with you, as an actor, he didn't have like a massively prolific career because he's kind of pigeonholed into a few things, and I'll cover it in a moment, being such a large fella. But yeah, I remember meeting him as that. He was a heavyweight world weightlifting. Sorry, he won the British heavyweight lifting championship in 1962, and he was famous for tearing up telephone directories. And they gave him the nickname Jack the Ripper. Huge fella. He trained Christopher Reeve for his role as Superman. Because of his loftiness, George Lucas hired him to occupy the Darth Vader costume in Star Wars: A New Hope. But because of his British accent, George Lucas decided to remove him and replace him with James Earl Jones. Now, I like James Earl Jones's voice. James Earl Jones's voice is there's something quite dynamic about it. It's got one of those quite distinct voices. I think I was talking to my wife about people with distinct voices. People like Brian Blessed, Morgan Freeman is another one. We have all these people with distinct voices, and he was one of those people. I
listened to earlier on the BBC. They had some clips of him playing the role of Darth Vader, but with his voice, obviously.
Yes.
And my word, does that sound a bit surreal? His Bristolian accent shining through, and then they play James L. Jones's voice, and that really does sound a lot better. I think George might have made a good choice there, but
well, can you do? It's one of those things, but he didn't realize that his voice had been dubbed over until he watched the premiere in 1977, and he was not best happy about it. And you could imagine that as an actor, that you would be a little bit pissed off in regards to these things. He also starred in a number of TV shows. He starred in the Beverly Hillbillies in 1968. That's the black and white TV show with old Bubbling Crude coming up. The Saint, starring Roger Moore, he was in that. He was in Carry On Henry. He was in Clockwork Orange. He was in Doctor Who, The Time Monster, and he played the Minotaur. Naturally, the biggest role that he could have in Doctor Who. He's also in Space 99, where he played a cloud creature. Again, big ass kind of role there. He was also in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy as one of the bodyguards, and he was also in Star Wars. It's a weird one because he was one of these people who had issues with Star Wars because of what they'd done to him, and there's an artistic argument for not doing it, and then there's the kind of keeping your kind of word things to the actors. Not brilliant, but I can remember meeting David Prowse. He was a big fella. He did have a meaty set of arms on him, so you could see how he got his weightlifting bits and that. But at the end of the day, he had a good innings, 85. I'd be happy with 85. So yes, that's great. So Nige, what are your Darth Vader memories or David Prowse? Did you meet the Green Cross Code Man?
No.
You never met the Green Cross Code Man?
No, I do recall the advert a little bit. They had this weird ass robot as well, right at the end. If you remember, it's like a little dome thing.
Almost that was a Dusty Bin. That was a Dusty. I refer to it as more like Dusty Bin than R2D2 because it was a bit more bin like.
I mean, I can't remember when that was coming out. It must have been early 80s. I was so very young then, but I don't recall very much of that. So yeah, no memories of that. I like obviously what he did in the films. I found it quite surreal watching his voice as Darth Vader because it just sounds, in comparison to Earl James, it sounds a little bit whiny.
It cheers me up for one reason because the British guys always tend to be the bad guys in American films, and it cheers me up the fact that he's not the bad guy in Star Wars. So there wasn't a British bad guy that everything kind of hinged around. It's a bit annoying because I think that when they had Return of the Jedi, they had a completely different actor being Darth Vader. So the bit where he takes his helmet off and he's got the harmonica in, that bit always makes me. There's a clip on YouTube of Darth Vader playing the harmonica, and they had that actor, and then they replaced him with fucking whingy Aiden Christensen or whatever his name was. It was, dude. It was a bit. It wasn't good, but he did a job. He got noticed for it. I think the fans loved him, which was a good thing. So yeah, this was a sad passing. So yeah, I will say thank you very much, Mr. Prowse, and we'll move on.
Cheers for the memories.
Right, before we move on to our next story about Mad Mikkelsen, you want to talk about Maradona.
Well, I know this is not a football thing, but it's just in the same week, obviously, we've lost Maradona, who is one of the great football and, for American people, soccer legends. Although he had a few faults, let's say a bit of cheating here and there, he was a fantastic footballer with the ball at his feet, and nobody can deny it. And unfortunately, we've lost him as well this past week. Just thought I'd do an honourable mention for him.
But I don't think his story stops there because it looks like he might have been murdered.
Well,
I'm sorry to put that bit in there because it was like kind of Maradona's dead. I didn't hear Maradona. Oh shit! And then I'm looking at it and like how it's like kind of all these people from like kind of news stories and sources and stuff saying it looks like he's been murdered. So his story doesn't look like it stops there. And
I think there's more to come.
There's more. There will be more to come.
It was a contentious fella. He was a great goalkeeper.
Yes. I wasn't a big fan of Maradona. And on talking about people I'm not big fans of, but I am a big fan of this one person. I like the way they put this: Death Stranding star Mad Mikkelsen. Okay, he's been in lots of other things. Yeah, his Death Stranding CGI model, fantastic. It genuinely looks like him. The reason I said that it wasn't the fact that I'm not a big Mad Mikkelsen fan, but I'm not a big Amber Heard fan because she shit the bed, and I will keep bringing that up at every fucking opportunity I get. Mad Mikkelsen is set to replace Johnny Depp in the Fantastic Beasts thing because of Amber Heard and all this kind of nonsense with the Sun and defamation and lawsuits and 101 other things at the moment. It looks like this is the funny thing, though, right? Despite being dropped from Fantastic Beasts after filming just one scene, Johnny Depp will still receive his entire paycheck of $10 million.
Ooh,
what?
That's a day's work, isn't it?
One day, I'd pretend to be Johnny Depp for a year for $10 million. Seriously, I would pretend to be him for an entire year and try not to break character at all for $10 million. It would be like Brewster's Millions, but they got some poor sap to pretend to be Johnny Depp. Yeah, he's been replaced by Mads Mikkelsen. I hate to think what Mads Mikkelsen's getting paid because he ain't getting paid $7.6 million. He's probably paid just under $1 million from that. Yeah. So it's not good. It's funny actually because Babster has just brought up something which I actually have queued up in my show notes here. I've got to wait for the little scale thing to go because it keeps growing. Amber Heard, the woman, is still. It looks like we're going to be on course till probably about end of January to get 3 million signatures to get her removed from the Aquaman 2 thing. But we know that change.org is an engine of change across the world and not just a place to have bitch. But as just a poll, look at it grow as we're talking. Yeah, the number keeps. The number is. Hang on a second. Let's want to zoom in on this a bit. Right, that number has been changing since we've talked. Oh, now it stops.
Oh, now it's
naturally it stops. But that had grown by 4 signatures by the time we were talking. But yeah,
it's more of an indication of where the public are on this issue. And it's not all going to be people who are fans of Johnny Depp, although we'll have loads of those. It's going to be people who see this and go, actually, I've followed the court case, and I think this is a bit stupid, really. I support that.
Yeah, it is one of those. It is one of those things with that, and it's just kind of it seems it just seems so unfair. It seems completely. There doesn't feel there's any kind of fairness in the world there. If it was a case of they both got fired because they were bringing their names into disrepute, it would. But she gets a pass because she's got a vag. She's got a vag. Anyway, speaking of vag power.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, you see what we did there. Speaking of vag power, Suicide Squad's Margot Robbie boasts that our upcoming Pirates of the Caribbean reboot will feature a lot of girl power. Oh fuck! No. Right, okay. Let's have a look. Let's have a quick recap of the car crashes from girl power films over the last year, and it's because they've got an established franchise and they've tried to twist it instead of creating something new, or even something established that was girl power, like Charlie's Angels. Girl power. Those films were silly, fun, and really, really enjoyable. And they were completely fucked up because they went down the whole kind of, I can't describe it, SJW, politically correct way of describing women, where it should have just been a silly fun film like they did when they had what's her much, Lucy Liu, I can't remember her name now, from E.T. And
not Charlize Theron, is it?
Diaz. No, not Charlize Theron.
Cameron Diaz, you say?
Cameron Diaz was one of them, and
the other one.
And the other one, we'll just call it the other one. Those were fun films. They were silly and stupid, and you could check your brain in, and you'd have a laugh, and it was fun, which was great. It was absolutely fantastic. But they insist of trying to shove this through on a political level rather than on entertainment level. So it's, despite this, the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise has had a lot of Drew Barrymore. Thank you very much, Keith. Have had a lot of what do you call it? Lots of kind of female empowered characters. So we had Naomi Harris's Tierra Domer, who was supposed to be the sea goddess, who went a bit giant, which I kind of didn't like the idea. You had Penelope Cruz was the antagonist Angelica character, who was in the one with Blackbeard. And then you had Keira Knightley's Elizabeth Swann, who turned around and took control of her own ship by becoming the Pirate King. So it's not like women were held back in these stories. They were given roles and this, that, and the other.
And it wasn't forced either.
It wasn't forced either. It was part of the story.
It was part of the story. And Elizabeth Swann, going from where she was in the hierarchy of, her dad being who he is and so forth, and being married off and all that stuff, to being the Pirate King at the end, by being voted in to be the Pirate King, I suppose, Queen, but they called her the Pirate King. That's a progression there. That's great storytelling. I really don't mind her being the Pirate King. I think that's great. I like the story.
But that was in the other Pirates of the Caribbean stories, which were a bit more.
But Baxter's picked up on something here. Reboot. Why are they rebooting something that is not
because it needs to have today's political sensibilities in it. It can't be a male thing, even though the pirates were predominantly male, with the exception of probably Anne Bonny, Anne Bonny, who famously got off being hanged by the British by making herself pregnant by shagging one of the guards, who says female privilege didn't exist back then. And that's how she got it off. She got off it. The other great one was a guy called, I've probably said this 100 times, a guy called Calico Jack, who served under a guy called Charles Vane, and he persuaded the judges in the courts that he was forced to do it because Vane was such a horrible, brutal person. He then fucked off and then stole. Raided a bank in Cuba and stole a Spanish man of war. All right, this one's a bit of this one's irritating. This one irritates the crap out of me. This is about a guy called Alan Dean Foster and Disney, because Disney are renowned people for being kind of, how can I put it, bastards. Now, Disney are withholding royalties from veteran Star Wars author Alan Dean Foster. He also did Aliens, so he's probably missing out his paycheck from Fox now. He did Aliens. He's done pretty much name a film, and he was the guy who translated it into a novel. Now, the one that he's all famous for is for doing what people thought was going to be the sequel to Star Wars, because George Lucas, how can I put it? He put together a cheap version of Star Wars, because he thought Star Wars might not be successful, called Splinter of the Mind's Eye, if I remember correctly, and Alan Dean Foster turned that script into a novel. Now, as a kid, all my mates, I was more into Aliens than I was into Star Wars, all my mates were going wild when they saw this book in the library. And they were like, kind of, open it up and go through it. But Disney at the moment haven't been paying him his royalties for all these books that he's done, especially now that they've also got the Fox library too of all the other books that he's done. And it's weird how that they've bought all these assets, but the assets also include liabilities where you have to pay out people for stories. Remember when they said that they cancelled the extended universe of Star Wars? When they were talking about canon, and they turned around and said the book universe and the comic universe were no longer going to be part of canon. We've talked about it years ago, I think.
Probably, yeah.
Anyway, I imagine that they probably did that so they didn't have to pay out royalties. So they stopped printing these things. I imagine they probably still fucking print them, but they haven't paid these people out. So I don't imagine that Alan Dean Foster is the only person. Now, Alan Dean Foster at the moment is not in the best of health, and he's been trying to raise. He doesn't want to raise money through GoFundMe or anything. He just wants to get paid what he's owed. That will cover all his treatments and stuff. Bit of a sad case in that, but I've gone through the novelization of Alien, one of the greatest ones, because there's a bit where I can't remember Yaphet Kotto's character, I can't remember his name, traps the alien in a room and has it rip its arm off and then run down the corridor, which wasn't in the film, which is fantastic. Yeah, it wasn't in the film, wasn't an extended cut. It was something they didn't get around to filming. And I imagine it'd be really fucking awkward to try and find another 6'6" skinny African art student with only one arm. But it was one of those kind of things where it was a bit annoying that he's not getting paid those things. Did you read any of the Alan Dean Foster novels?
No, I've never read any of those. It's not. I like the films. I don't mind watching the films, but I haven't really thought about reading the books. Although, actually thinking about it, I could diversify now, couldn't I? I could go and have a look at the Aliens novels, for example. That would be quite cool.
I wouldn't recommend it because he's not getting paid. So if you're going to buy it second hand. So Disney don't get any fucking money from it because he's not getting his check cut, which is not good.
No, I find it crazy that the person who has written the book with the permission of Disney or whoever at the time has
someone didn't turn their phone off.
I have, but they've decided to be in the middle of a thing.
Okay. All right. So before we move on to our next section, would you like to go through the chats? Because I think we've got quite a few chats that we've got through before we move on to our next section.
Right. Well, really, there's been a few bits here. I'm scrolling back up.
The top. Start from the top. Just pull out all the interesting ones. That means not Keith's ones.
Yeah, not Keith.
Not Keith's one.
Just Keith. Well, okay. Baxter. David Prowse is still alive in the Force. Yeah, I think he's got one of those hollow things now. In the next film, must be.
I don't know. I'll have to find out.
He's making people use the Force to stop, look, and cross the road. Yeah, Jedi mind tricks from production. Stop, look, and join the dark side.
That would have been a much better tagline. Kiddies, forget Yoda and all that. Like, stop, look, and
join the dark side.
Join the dark side.
Oh, you're being told to get to 84 and then update everyone on how you're feeling at 84.
Okay. All right.
Right. And I suppose Keith.
Nice to see you, Chuck, by the way.
Yeah, nice to see you. I think this is in regards to British people playing superheroes these days.
Well, yeah, but they're all pretending to be American. Though this doesn't count.
Well, like
it's when they get to be British, you know.
Yeah, cool. And yes, I think he might have actually gone in goal once or twice, probably. You know.
No, he's talking about the hand of God, Nige. That's what he's talking about. I didn't think refs like I didn't see him touch it. Even you can see him flap.
Do you know? I saw an interview with he was interviewed later, the ref, like later in life, recently, and he was saying he looked to the linesman, and he was looking to the linesman because he had a better view, and he looked over, and the linesman was saying, "No, it's all good," because he had a better view and was running back and he couldn't question it because his view was better, and so they let it go.
And that 20,000 in that brown envelope didn't help him at all.
No, that didn't at all. Yeah, I think it was a Tunisian referee. Oh right. I'm still stuck in Brewster's Millions comment. I didn't see that.
That was the thing where I said that I would be Johnny Depp for a year for £10 million.
Oh yeah, Brewster.
And I wasn't allowed to break character for an entire year like Brewster's Millions, which I think is a fantastic concept for a film. We just need to find the right celebrity to sign on with. So the story goes that a celebrity finds a lookalike and they have to pretend to be them for a year. So it'd be a story of some struggling actor somewhere. I'm going to start penning that script now. Sorry, Dave, I'm not going to go through your African book anymore. I've got a £1 million idea.
Got a better one.
Okay.
Dior refuses to drop Johnny Depp as Savage. Sales have skyrocketed.
Yes, well, it's part of being in the news, so it's in the back of people's head, and people who feel that he's being maligned, shall we say, are putting their money where their mouth is. So good for them. What else we got?
He was also too busy in the arcade, probably, to read those books.
Okay, fair enough. I wasn't allowed in the arcade.
I was either playing football or I was on holiday in these caravan parks playing in the arcade machines, and mostly Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or The Simpsons 4-player. Dave, Alien was a good movie, a great movie. Aliens was better. Alien 3 was okay. Alien Resurrection was crap. Good reviews. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh dear, no, not this again.
No. Clearly, you've been hit in the head recently.
You must have had a fall while playing VR games, I think.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. You're playing Walking Dead and you smashed your head into the cupboard behind you. That wall thing, that invisible wall that you talk about, didn't quite work. Okay. All right, we've got one. Just show the one from Keith right at the bottom.
Oh, yeah, because that's great. Don't have a clue.
I don't know why he's just being so rude. Why would
it's
he
just
be
sending
so rude?
boxes. It's just getting.
No, it's just so out of order. Anyway, let's move on to our next section. All right, my favourite TV show, The Expanse, has been cancelled for a second bloody time. I'll be honest with you, they have cancelled it in probably the right spot. They're going to do a 6th and final season for it, and this is where we get the kind of Earth. Well, it's like the everyone versus what they refer to as the Free Navy, which is the Belters with Martian tech. It's annoying because there's the next set of books. It goes deep, tries to go deeper into the people that have fled into ring space and the proto-molecule aliens. And I really want to see the character Winston Duarte to see what's happened there. But yeah, it's been cancelled again. I'm annoyed. Really wanted to watch this. Really wanted to see the character Winston Duarte to see how they put him on screen, because I imagine they do a bloody good job with it. They did. It was Vag Power in the second to last novel, but I imagine that's probably because it's going to be a sausage fest towards the end, and they wanted to balance it out. I'm hoping that's the case. And they also killed one of my favourite characters between books, which I was a little annoyed at. But if you're going to end it, if you want to get off the Expanse train, it's probably best to do it at the end of this run of the Free Navy in the solar system part. But that'll leave a lot of unanswered questions because certain things will be taken away. One character is going to die off, which they look like they're going to do with the aggressor species rather than stroking them out. But I'm a bit annoyed that it's been cancelled. There may be a chance that it gets resurrected by another TV company. It'd be ironic if it went to bloody Netflix next. It goes to Netflix. They get 3 series and they can finish the whole thing off. I'd just like to point out, you and Keith being massive not Lord of the Rings. What's the other one? Game of Thrones fans. Yeah, you carp on about Game of Thrones. The Expanse novels and TV show have happened in the gap between books. They will finish off their entire TV series and the books in the gaps between that one book, The Winds of Winter, is from George R.R. Martin. George R.R. Martin thinks the TV show is fantastic, and he's actually given them lots of publicity and lots of help in writing their stories. That's probably why he hasn't written his own fucking story. Did I tell you how The Expanse came about? This is just like an interesting little tidbit here. All right. The Expanse came about because the people who wrote it, James A. Corey, which is Ty Frank and Daniel Abram, they weren't happy with the end of Mass Effect 3.
Huh.
So they decided they were going to make their own game. So they wrote a story for their own game. So they put the rules out and everything like that, and they set out the little factions and bits and people you could do. That's why the Rocinante kind of feels a bit like the Normandy, with all these kind of characters who are completely different.
Yeah.
I just love the idea that they put it together because they weren't happy with the end of Mass Effect 3. That means something really good came out of a shit ending in Mass Effect 3. How's that for a bit of trivia, mate?
Well, I like that.
You like that? It does. It's one of those things because there was a Mass Effect story about people spotting what do you call it? Not fan art, conceptual art in one of their Doohickeys art books for Mass Effect Andromeda 2. I don't know if it's going to be like that or if they're going to redo the Mass Effect Doohickeys. Remaster the Mass Effect. I've lost the ability to speak. I'm hosting a show and my mouth is failing me.
Yeah.
But
the first Mass Effect came out a long time ago, wasn't it?
The Mako bits were the shit bits. Everything else was great. The Mako bits where you're running around trying to fight the fucking Thresher Moors and all that. That was shit.
And the way it drove the Mako, when you drove for Mako, it didn't handle well at all. They fixed it in the second. By
not having it.
No, they had.
They removed it from the second one. They had a hammerhead thing, didn't they? That floated around in the DLC. Yeah. But they removed it completely. Anyway, we were talking about how I was talking about to you guys about how Disney need to have a 2-tiered kind of thing for their like streaming service. They need to have like the kids family friendly one and then a more adult one. And lo and behold, Disney Plus is going to have Disney 18 Plus. Sounds more like porn. I think it would have been best if they would have used their 20th century television. They were 20th century films and 20th century television or something, because some eagle-eyed pedant at a conference spotted this. Can you see this? Let's see if I can zoom in a bit. Zoom in without cocking it up. There we go. Can you see it any better? No, not any better. There we go. How's that? Can you see where it says asterisk Disney 18 plus launching April 21st, 2021? So Disney looked like they were listening to the podcast. Thank you very much. They were listening to a podcast and they thought, you know what, we need to have a clear adult split. But calling it Disney 18 plus makes me think of niche porn, shall we say? Yeah.
It's just going to be, well, people subscribing to Disney 18 plus in order to get their Disney kicks.
It does. It's like I know that one of your sons is scared of people in costumes. Yeah, when he was younger, he was scared of people dressed up as things. So when we took him to Disney World, he was like, "This is like fucking hell for me."
Yeah,
and he hated the costumes, if I remember correctly. And I'll be honest with you, if it's 18 plus and involves costumes, like what I'm thinking, it would be hell for me too. But it is weird because this is a place that they're going to start putting things like Aliens. We had the rumor about Predator 5 or wherever it was the other day. Deadpool, even though apparently Deadpool's going, it sounds like it's going a little woke because they fired the male writers on there because they were male, and apparently that's acceptable these days. And like, maybe not. But yeah, that's a place to put it. They shouldn't really call it Disney Plus. They bought Hulu, or as Keith likes to call it, Halulu. I don't know why he calls it fucking Halulu, but that would be a thing if they had Hulu and Disney Plus. Disney Plus is the family-friendly stuff where you get your Marvel and your Star Wars films and things where you get your Deadpool and your Logans and your Aliens and your Predators bits, because they need to think in those terms now because they've got to make money. They are, because of the closures of the park and the COOF this year, they are behind a lot in cash. So they need to make sure that they can get these things up and running and get those cash bits in. But it's really weird that they called it Disney 18 Plus because it does sound
it screams can girls.
It does.
Disney can girls dressed as Disney princesses.
I didn't even think of that. I was thinking of some guy in a Mickey costume. Oh, Mickey, you're so fine.
I'm here to do your plumbing. Oh, your windows need washing.
Yeah.
Okay, no.
That is terrifying. That is nightmare fuel. All right, that is nightmare fuel. I can't wait to get my new Mac, which is due just before bloody Christmas, even though I ordered it in October, because I can see my poor bloody graphics card. I'd have to go to the Windows side because it's not supported. Right. I love Stargate. My favorite is Stargate Atlantis, then probably Stargate Universe, and then probably SG-1. I'm sorry for the SG-1 fans. My favorite character of all time in Stargate is Rodney McKay, played by David Hewlett. Now, HBO Max have got content issues, shall we say, with them putting out new content. They bought the rights to Doctor Who in the States. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? But it also means they get the backdated Doctor Who thing, so people can watch the back catalogue. And be honest with you, most people who watch streaming services watch the back catalogues of things like MASH, Friends, etc., Seinfeld, sort of things like that. So if they buy the back catalogue, so HBO Max has the back catalogue of all those Stargate TV shows. There is a lot. There were 5 seasons of Atlantis, 2 of Universe, and I think 9 of Stargate SG-1. That's a lot of TV shows. It reached 200 episodes for Stargate SG-1. And it finished off with Ben Browd and Claudia Brack from Farscape, which was fantastic. Cheered me up. It acted kind of like a refuge for lost science fiction actors. This fits with the rumors that they may be bringing back Stargate so that they can, so that they can have a show for HBO Max, which is fantastic. Now, Joe Flanagan, who was the lead, I would say, who played John Shepherd in Stargate Atlantis, he's been trying to get Stargate Atlantis revival off the ground a couple of times. I'm hoping that it's Stargate Atlantis, not Stargate SG-1, because I really like Atlantis more than SG-1. But it could be something new. We could get a follow-on to Stargate Universe. We could probably find out what the fuck they were chasing and what everything was going on there. But if it happens, it will be fantastic. There's a petition out there. I might put it in the link for the video if I remember, but I'm a klutz. And I've got actual work to do after this. So, yeah, it's pretty good. That's good news all round. So, Nigel, would you kindly like to catch us up on the comments while I prep the next section, please?
Yes, I will. So, although the obligatory Hail Team Keith messages...
No, Bapstar. No, Keith.
From Keith himself.
Oh, hang on a second. Hang on, Keith.
You're wrong, and you're a grotesquely ugly freak.
And that's why I put that in there.
And I have just noticed that I can even put users in timeout if he doesn't behave. So
really?
Yes, I've just found it.
Awesome.
Keith, watch yourself. Okay, but he does say this: Disney Princess Station 18 Plus.
Yes, it does sound like that.
A new version of Tron called Debbie Gets Troned.
No.
Keith, Debbie does Snow White. That's but Baps has come in with a great Debbie White and the Dirty Dwarfs. That's
We've just turned into the porn puns. It's just easy, right? Hang on, try this one: Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. There you go. It writes itself. Oh my god! You guys are filthy. Totally filthy.
What with you lot? It's like we haven't spoken about anything else.
Yes, we have spoken about other things.
Everyone's keenly going. Oh,
I got one. It's the black hole one that got me. It should just be black hole 1, 2, and 3, and we can put in our imaginations what black hole is a euphemism for, Babster. You filthy man.
What about Aliens versus Debonator?
Oh, why Debbie? What's the thing with Debbie?
I don't know.
Debbie. I'd like to see the Star Wars ones because there must be a new hole. Empire Strikes Back is fine.
Return of the Force.
Return of something.
Disney did it. Blame them. Yes. It's all their fault.
All right. Okay, we've done TV. Let's get on to some good old-fashioned gaming news. God, almost caught me drinking. Okay, so Microsoft have had a bit of a weird one. They had their launch, and me and Nige quite lovingly participated in the launch. And then they found all of a sudden that people were going batshit crazy over PS5s. But they were going, don't worry, we still got the most powerful console. Now, well, they thought they had the most powerful console. Something is driving them nuts. The nerds at Digital Foundry have found that certain games run better on PS5. Now, I try to explain this to people as the Xbox X series is a muscle car. Yeah, lots of power, lots of torque, this, that, and the other. Can't turn a fucking damn corner. And the corners are where the kind of the problem that they've got lies, because they've literally I think they just did it for like more paper exercise, where Sony seem to have done their homework a little bit more. Now, they found a few few games where they had superior frame rates on. One was Assassin's Creed Valhalla. The other one was Dirt 5. There is another one. I forgot to put it in my bloody notes because there were 3 of them that they tested on Digital Foundry. Oops. The problem is that Microsoft has marketed their machines the most powerful console ever made, but the results are kind of showing them up. So the marketing department's now scratching their head going, well, you guys told us that this was the most powerful one round. It had 12 teraflops. The other one's got 10.5. Why are they doing better? And the engineers at Microsoft have gone, yeah, that's a fucking good point. There's a bottleneck somewhere. And it's ironic because if you listen to Mark Cerny / Dana Carvey, he talks about removing bottlenecks. He did his homework. The 10.5 teraflops needed to be passed across from the hard drive backwards and forwards with speed. They've even got like a super dynamic compression. I think they're called Leviathan, which is terrifying. I prefer WinZip. Something along those lines. No, seriously, it's called Leviathan, where they can zip stuff across from one side of the hard drive, transfer it across onto like the processor and the RAM, and unzip really quickly. So that's one of the little things to do it. It doesn't matter, guys. At the moment, it's games. We want games. Sod your frame rates. We want games. You give me a good game on the Xbox X or the Xbox S in my series. In my case, I will play that. Okay, I keep forgetting where my camera is. I will play that. Yeah, Sony gave me some good games. I'm playing that. I'm replaying Days Gone at the moment. It's at 4K, 60 frames a second. It is buttery bloody smooth. It is absolutely gorgeous. And on my previous PS4, it struggled when we had like 100 and something zombies on screen, and I was trying to mow them down with a gun. I think I sent Nigel a video of where I literally did it. There's no on the downside WhatsApp, because I didn't have a WhatsApp. It's got compression issues and whatnot, but it looks fantastic and it plays fantastic. Games, mate, you need games. And as I said before, a PS4 owner has an Xbox X series is more probably appealing to a PS4 owner than it is to an Xbox owner, which is ironic because you're courting the other side. which is, it's fantastic and stuff like that.
Well, it worked for me.
Yeah, because you got it and you got the Games Pass and you went, "Whoa, nice!"
So many games.
It's like buying a fridge and opening up and it is full. And you're like, "Oh, I've got beers, I've got exotic cheeses, I've got vegetables I don't think I'd ever use." Yeah, and all these other things. But the technology that went into a PS5 feels more of a generational leap, where Xbox is more an evolutionary kind of thing. It's a bit disappointing for me because I owned an Xbox One. If I had an Xbox One X and I bought an Xbox X series, I think I'd probably be disappointed. The power doesn't match much at the moment. There's nothing that really shows it off. I think you get 120 frames a second on Black Ops, but not many people like it apparently. So we want some good games. And I didn't take a breath during that entire thing. I'm now going to take a deep breath in.
You've done well.
Yeah, I did well.
So I reckon, from my point of view, as a PS4 Pro owner, the X appealed to me because obviously it's got disc drive and the other one doesn't. But I can now go back over and play the back catalogue of games. And for me, it's nice and new and sparkly, and I'm getting to grips with the Gears of War games, which are actually...
We need to play them together. Nice.
And we will.
You need to play them together.
I've got Gears 5, which I've had a little go on, and we can play 2-player on that now. And that's great. And we've played Grounded together, and I like the look of Grounded, even though it is in alpha, or whatever they're calling it, pre-access or something. And also, on the flip side, I'm going to download Forza 4. Because I like a racing game.
I've been meaning to play the Forza games.
I will give that a go. And although at the moment my Xbox is basically a digital machine, I do have a few discs from the original Xbox which I could play on it, and that's what I wanted it for. Whereas my PS5, I've got Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and that is a brilliant game. I cannot understate how good Astro's Playroom is.
I can't believe you're really into Astro's Playroom. I played and finished Spider-Man before you did Astro's Playroom. And Astro's Playroom is a much shorter game, but you plan that.
I don't get to play it too often, but I went through and I made sure that I platinumed it, Astros, and I just like the way it just utilizes every last bit of the controller. It just does. There's bits where you got to blow into the mic to make things move, and then you got spinny thing, and then as you're walking across different surfaces, you get the feel and the texture through the controller, and you can hear things through the. Whereas, unfortunately, with the Xbox, you don't quite get that. It doesn't, like you say, it doesn't feel like a generational leap. It does feels like I've upgraded my computer, so it runs quicker.
Yeah.
I've seen people who have I've seen videos of people saying, I've got my Xbox Series X and I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going to give it to my nephew because I've got a PC and I've got Games Pass. I can just play the games on my PC. Yeah. It's capable. I don't need it. It's a shame, really. It really is. It is
a shame. It's my S series. I love the actual box. The box itself. I pick it up and it feels, when I don't pick it up constantly and hug it. I pick it up. When I do pick it up, it feels like a nice meaty piece of hardware. Anyway, just moving on to the next story because it kind of dovetails quite well into that one. PlayStation are currently looking at putting in Games Pass. So a while back, Sony Interactive's Entertainment CEO Jim Ryan, if I got that right, was asked by Russian news agency TASS about whether his company would introduce something to rival Xbox Games Pass. And he says they were looking into it. I'll be honest with you, it's called PlayStation Now. A few tweaks, more games, you can get it through. I think what their problem is that the Xbox Games Pass puts on the Xbox exclusives into it. And because they put the Xbox exclusive bits into it, the Sony people are like kind of, that's where we make money. So it may be a case of when the game would reach platinum or the whatever they call the Essentials collection or something, that's when you put it into the Sony Games Pass. I think they can do it. I think it would work. It's funny because it's the one thing that Xbox have clearly got over Sony. The funny thing is that Sony are already set up to implement it. If they dovetail it with the PlayStation Collection and the PlayStation Plus stuff, everything would work quite well on that. And I think it's well, it's not like a U-turn, but it is something they should have considered, and I find it weird that they would have removed that as a consideration from it.
Yeah, they're sort of doing it already with the PlayStation Collection that they've got there. If you look through the games that are available on that, they're all the exclusive games, aren't they? Maybe. They
went, we'll pick the finest games for you, and they have picked the finest games. There's a few games that I missed out, like I think Last Guardian in it.
Last Guardian is on that. Yeah,
that's one I've been meaning to play.
Days Gone for me. You had that before.
Days Gone. Days Gone.
It's on the list.
Good game.
So I've downloaded it. I'm going to give that a go. I've had a little play on it already, and it just feels like it plays similar, or it looks similar to The Last of Us, the way it plays. Picking up stuff, upgrading bits.
It's better than the game. The gameplay is better. The story is not as pulley at your heartstrings. It is interesting. It would make a better TV show than The Last of Us. Not Last of Us, The Walking Dead. Sorry.
Yeah, but Last of Us is also on there. The first one, not the second one. First one's also on there, and there's a few other games like God of War's on there. And you think these are games that they have done well in for the PS4. I feel it's a great move to allow PS5 owners who are PS Plus subscribers to have these games for free to play them on your new hardware. And yeah, I've gone with Days Gone. The other ones I've sort of got a few of them. Apart from actually Last Guardian, I think I might have a little go on. But I think they've got they're on the cusp. They're on the cusp of doing a Games Pass-ish thing.
Yeah.
You're right. Think PlayStation Now just needs a bit of a tweak. I think PlayStation Now, though, is a streaming service rather than
no. It's a mix. It's a mix. The PS3 stuff is streaming, and the PS4 stuff was downloadable. So you download the PS4 games, you'd stream the PS3 games, and the PS2 games and PS1 games, I think, were a mix. So they pretty much got it set up. It's just because the sodding PS3 architecture is such a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
The guy, Jim Ryan, or whatever it is, the CEO of Sony Entertainment, did turn around and say, why would I play a PS2 game? People want to play those sort of things. There is a how can I put it, a market for retro games and stuff. We know because we talk to a lot of people on Instagram about retro games and alike. So that's that. I think it's going to come through. I think it's going to be good. Competition is always good. Competition means that we get things cheaper and faster and more effective than normal, and I'm quite happy with that. So let's move on to our next story. Okay. So the Avengers game. A bit late is the first thing. Had Endgame come out, which pretty much ended the fucking Marvel Cinematic Universe. Which felt a lot of us like it ended the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And then they released an Avengers game. So Square Enix apparently have lost $48 million in Q2 of 2020, according to the financial records. It's not surprising. They put a character in there called Kamala Khan, known as Miss Marvel, who is not wanted, shall we say. We want Iron Man, we want Thor, we want the Hulk, we want Captain America, we want Black Widow. I don't think we want Hawkeye. We want Spider-Man.
Bless him.
Doctor Strange. Ant-Man, Wasp, sort of things like that. But Kamala Khan felt like she was crowbarred in there. I played the demo of Marvel's Avengers, and when I got Kamala Khan, I just went, this character looks like a shit version of fucking Reed Richards. Yeah, with her big fist.
The Mr. Stretch.
Yes, Reed Richards. Well, I don't know why they didn't have Reed Richards in there. I think they own the rights to Reed Richards. Maybe the games might not be because of Fox Interactive or something along those lines, but they should have had Reed Richards in there instead of that Kamala Khan character in there. No one likes her. Her comic books don't sell. They keep getting rebooted. She's as bad as Captain Marvel. Why did you do that?
So I I didn't want to play the demo, although usually this sort of game is up my street. You know, Spider-Man and diving around, beat a load of enemies, and move on to the next thing. I don't mind that, but I watched a few videos beforehand, and I just, this is very repetitive, and I mean very, very repetitive. Same. And who is this character you're forced to play? I don't recognise that character as a, you know, pretty much a layman compared to you guys.
Yeah.
Is that character an actual character from the comics?
Yes, she's been around for I think about 6 years, maybe a bit more. She was kind of crowbarred in there after. There's a Marvel editor who created the character and has been trying to crowbar them in to all the Marvel stories since. And because they've been doing that, it's been a bit shit because not many people want that.
No, I don't. It didn't appeal to me, and I think because it's a character. If you're not into the comics and you're up to date on the comics, you wouldn't have a clue who that character is. Then, if it's only 6 years old, the character, they're not 6 years old technically.
That's 6 years old.
They've only been about for 6 years. Then nobody will know who they are unless you're up to date on the comics. And a lot of the people who would have bought this game would have been watching the films. Yeah,
and then they go, "Who the fuck is this person?
Who am I playing here? Who is this person?"
Yeah,
I think, yeah, it didn't appeal to me because I didn't know who that person was. All I saw was clips of the very first hour I think I watched, and it was simply her finding a couple of the Avengers. I think she was with the Hulk at the first, and then they break into this facility, break someone out, and you're like, oh,
and they've got that horrible thing. That horrible thing now where people just get powers because they are awesome, not because they were part of an accident or because they were training hard or this, that, and the other. So it's like kind of Daredevil may have had problems with his hearing and not problems with his hearing, super hearing, and couldn't see. But the reason he was like he was is because he trained to be a fucking ninja. By stick. Kamala Khan just turns up. Oh, I'm Kamala Khan. I'm amazing. And it's like, kind of, have you experienced tragedy in your life as a significant relative died recently? No. Even Miles Morales. Yeah, Miles Morales, depending which story you read, sees Peter Parker die, which kind of spurs him on to become Spider-Man, or sees his dad die, or sees the Prowler, his uncle, die. That spurs him on. So he has a backstory, a tragic backstory for things to work. But Kamala Khan just turns up, wakes up one morning, I've got superpowers. I'm amazing. Thank you very much.
Same as Captain Marvel then.
Yeah, same as Captain
There's no
Marvel.
relation. There's no relating to that. I think
there is no relation.
Romanoff.
Yeah, if you would have put,
if it trained for years and years and years.
Yeah, and it's because there's an odd way of dealing with things today, and it's destroying good stories. It's destroying the ideas of things being earned. People are now expecting things to be handed to them. Anyway, Nige, got to the end of this section. Would you like to go through the comments while I get the next section ready?
Yep. Oh God, they carried on with the conversation.
They were going on. I could see a little thing pinging out in the corner as they were going through.
Although this one was rather good from Keith, I'll have to give him that. The Phantom Badge. All right, moving on. Right, I agree. This is about the console wars, I believe. This kind of thing's gone on since I was a kid. Oh, my Spectrum's better than your C64. No, my Amstrad's better than your Spectrum. Yeah, it has. I don't get on board with all that. Better than this, better than that. Right. I like the consoles.
But go find a games making program. Yeah, make a game, program anything today. And then all of a sudden you will transfer it across to another machine. It will work perfectly on your machine. You will test it for every fucking bug, but somehow a bug appears completely different on a completely different machine. It drives me crazy when I develop shit. So it is one of those things, you put it there, you test it to buggery, and then, no, it doesn't work on your machine. I've got a sticker for a book that says it works on my machine fine.
And that is in response to perhaps the saying the problem is programmers are lazy now.
They're not lazy. there's more variables to deal with these days, especially when it comes to PC programming.
Yeah, PC. There's so many different components that people and component combinations that people will have. You can't really consider all of them, although they do try, I suppose. But his point being, we should check out. They still push out the old 8-bit and 6-bit machines today, so they're still making stuff for those, eh?
Oh yeah, you've got these like bedroom programmers that are producing cartridges and stuff. It's really cool. Some of the stuff. If you go to Babster's channel, Nige, and watch some of his stuff, he does lots of unboxings of these things. He unboxed something recently with a bloody tape in it. I looked at it and went,
"Oh, I saw that."
You saw that one?
I said, "I saw a tape." What?
Yeah, I know.
They're making games with tape.
Very specky, yeah.
And just a big hello to King Solomon.
Hello,
Mr.
Solomon.
You were here with us.
How are you doing?
You should have made yourself known earlier, mate. Thanks for coming.
Yes, thanks for coming. I've lost my mouse.
He's got a magic mouse, you see. It disappears.
My mouse. All right, okay. Right. We're not doing any reviews today because Keith is off on holiday somewhere in Thailand. So instead of doing the review section, I'm just going to just shamelessly plug our Instagram. There's a picture of a happy couple on holiday in Florida.
With some
random woman. I don't know who the random woman is. No, it's funny. It's funny because you wrote on the post that she photobombed, where it was clearly me the one that was photobombing.
I know. I was taking a picture with my wife, and Gareth photobombed in, and so I wrote that my wife photobombed.
Yes, but yeah, we have some fun. That was a funny picture there. But we have an Instagram page. Come follow us on Instagram. We like posting lots of stuff about kind of video games. We kind of like the classic stuff. Anything that we've kind of had a personal history with usually winds up in our feeds. So now, if I do, now fingers crossed that I do this right. Now I'm going to see if I can press the button. And I buggered it up. Right.
I was so ready to celebrate for you.
You got that too. Okay, so it's this time of year where we start realizing it. We're coming up to the end, and we all want to see the back of 2021 as soon as possible, so we can get back to normality.
2020 we'll see the back of
2020 or 21. Fucking, I've lost track of time given our current situation. So it's all coming out to that lovely celebration that we have towards the end of the year, Christmas. Mum shares hilarious results after toddler decorates Gran's Christmas tree. Now, Nige, have a guess before I scroll down to the Twitter post. Have a guess. Go on, give us a guess. What did the kid do?
I think she found it's either one of two things.
No, I know where you're going. Where you're going.
It's either one of two things, and I hope it is. It's either going to be Tampax, or she's found some dildos and she's popped them on.
Oh, Nigel.
Am I wrong?
You're wrong. You're completely wrong. A toddler decorating a Christmas tree. I've got to zoom in.
Yeah,
zoom in,
there
we go.
I couldn't have been wrong.
You couldn't have been more wrong. You know why? Because all our what the fuck stories are usually woman sex toy, maybe animal involved, fine sex toy. Yeah, there was a story of some woman who sold a PS4 and left a rampant rabbit in it, and I was going to put that one up, but I thought I want a Christmassy one. It's coming up for Christmas. The Americans have just had Thanksgiving and whatnot, and they've been told that they can't meet up, and they've just fucking ignored it like good people. But here, look at the toddler clearly put an effort in decorating the Christmas tree. The downside is that it's one-sided. It's funny because my son, when he was little, he asked for a Christmas tree because can I have a Christmas tree? So we found an old Christmas tree that we had when we lived in our previous flat, and we gave it to him, and he decorated the Christmas tree. It looked fantastic until you turned around and saw the back of it, which was completely blank. He decorated just the forward-facing section. Really good.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's our what the fuck story. We've got a couple of comments just to say before we go.
So just as a quick hello to Balin. Didn't realise you were here. Come when you guys join in. When you do join the stream, just pop in, say hello straight away.
Yes,
and then join in the show.
More the merrier.
Absolutely. We enjoy having you guys pop your comments in. We'll always go back to them after each section.
Yes, after each section.
So if you're still with us, thanks for watching, and don't forget to go check out either our Facebook page, Monkey Nut Punch, or Twitter. We don't really use that, but Monkey Nut Punch, or Instagram, which we're on the most, which is Monkey Nut Punch, surprisingly.
Yes.
And also, you're probably watching us on YouTube, so you can find us there, Monkey Nut Punch. That's weird, that, isn't it? They're all called Monkey Nut Punch.
Before we go, I'd just like to say, what do you call it? Thank you, Dave, for watching. Thank you, Keith, for watching. I know you didn't have to, and you probably didn't want to. Thank you, Chuck, for watching. Thank you very much, Babster, for watching. Thank you very much, Gloin, for watching. Who else we got? Have I got everyone? Yeah, David. Yeah, I got everyone. Woo! Thank you all for watching. And if you stuck around this long, give us a bloody like. Press the little button, or give us a thumbs down. But as I said at the beginning, of the podcast, give us a thumbs up and subscribe now before you decide that you don't like it. My son does a little YouTube channel, yeah, and his phrase for going out is click like and subscribe for ice cream and cookie dough, which I think is better than what we've got, which is click the button now before you decide you don't like it.
Before you decide you don't like us, and then remember that you've got to dislike us. So
it's goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from me.
We'll see you in the next one. Right. Grogon is the name of Baby Yoda in the bloody Mandalorian. It's stupid.